This is KTVO's Good Morning Heartland.
Welcome back. In an early morning session, the Senate approved a measure on tax increases and spending cuts. The measure now goes to the House of Representatives. We have Stephen Sorhus, a certified public accountant at South House CPA LLC in Kirksville. He's here to break it all down for us. So we've heard about the Fiscal Cliff pretty much for the last couple of months. What is it?
Well, basically, in the last decade or so, they've made a bunch of tax provisions expire. And they all expire on one day. And so that's the Fiscal Cliff. All these tax provisions expired, and all the spending increases expired on the same day.
All right. And what is the current state of affairs right now?
Well, right now, it looks like the Senate's passed a deal. They're going to go to the House, and they're going to see if they can get that passed today. So things are looking like we're going to move forward with this in a positive way.
Okay, and so what are some common misrepresentations you have heard about the Fiscal Cliff?
Well, the common one is that it's going to affect the 2012 filing season, the one that's going to be due on April of this year. This is all stuff that goes forward 2013. 2012 is what it is, and it's all set in stone, and so we can go ahead and move forward with the filing of 2012 taxes.
Are there any temporary provisions that any of us should be, aware of or concerned about?
The biggest one that's going to affect people in a real way is the expiration of the 2% payroll tax cut.
Okay.
The Social Security cut that Obama put in a few years ago is set to expire, and that's going to affect people as they get their paychecks.
Okay. And what about the estate tax roller coaster? How is that going to affect the taxpayers here in the Heartland?
Well, that's been a real mess. In 2001, they reduced the exclusion rate, which means a lot less people had to worry about it, and that progressively went up for the last couple of years. And then in 2010, it was repealed entirely, so people didn't have to worry about their estate. Now, the estate tax is different than the income tax. That's the tax on the sum total of all the valuation of everything that you own when you pass away. People want to avoid this, and so they either implement tax planning strategies to reduce their estate, or they don't. Not knowing if this is going to affect them has made people implement things that have a permanent effect when they didn't need to, or it's made them wait and given up possibly a year. So it's not going to affect a lot of people that were worried about it. Now, thanks that we have this agreement now.
Okay. And what is the most controversial provision that people are facing right now?
Well, the most controversial one would have to be the capital gains tax rate, in my opinion. This is the one that capital gains are taxed at a much lower rate than ordinary income. This has caused Warren Buffett to pay less taxes, or a lower tax rate than his secretary. Some economists say that this has a lot of benefits because it encourages capital investing. Others say it's not good because the rich people are the ones that benefit from this.
All right. And do you want to touch base on any other expiring issues?
Well, there's a lot of other things going on. The ATM patch, looks like they fixed that for the long term, which is fantastic because that's been something that we've worried about every year for the last decade or so. I'm just glad that they finally come to an agreement and we know what's going to happen.
Right.
That's been the worst part about this whole situation.
Exactly.
Not being able to plan very effectively.
And with them coming to an agreement and now going on to the House of Representatives, did we lose an opportunity? Did we gain something? In the end, what happened?
Well, that's a good question. That depends on your perspective. Some people that want a more fiscally conservative government, that want to reduce the deficit and increase revenues and decrease spending, might have been happy if this Fiscal Cliff thing actually happened. All right. Because that was what was going to happen. Other people would say that would be a bad thing if this happened. In this current state of affairs, we really need the government to be spending money, and we need to reduce people's tax burden. So, it depends on who you ask.
Right. And speaking of questions, I'm sure a lot of our viewers have a number of questions that they'd probably like to ask you. So the good news is you are somewhat new here in Kirksville, correct?
Well, I've been in Kirksville for several years, but I'm opening up an office on my own here.
All right. And what we'll do is we'll post your information on our website so our viewers, if they have any questions, they know how to get in contact with you. Thank you so much for coming in this morning.
Thank you. My pleasure.
And we'll be right back.